Welcome
to the joy of coding.
Hello, and welcome to episode 360 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. We're going to be live hacking on some Firefox stuff today. It's going to be a great time. We're gonna hopefully figure some stuff out. It's episode 360. I want to do a spin for you. I feel like that'd be appropriate. It's fairly cramped in here, but I'm going to do a spin and hopefully not knock down my green screen. Here goes. 360. 360 spin. Here goes. Push the keyboard in. It's worth it. It's worth it. Don't knock anything down. Yay! Yay! We did it. We did it, gang. It was totally worth it. 360. All right. Let's get started. What are we doing today? Well, I'll start by doing what I always do, which is sharing my screen. One moment. Hey, yeah, it's March 20th, 2024, episode 360. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I think I know what I want to do today. I think I know how it's all going to work. I also just realized I haven't tested the Twitch bridge bot. So if someone is in the Twitch chat, would you mind just saying something just so I can see if the bridge is working? And if not, well, I'll have to, if I don't see any oh, there it is. Thanks, Smurf D. The bridge is working. No plan survives breakfast, though. If the bridge had been down, I would have had to, improvise a little on my feet here, but that's kind of the deal. That's kind of how this works, is you're going to watch me kind of do software development the way I always do it. I kind of have a sense of what I want to do today, but I haven't really pre-prepared anything. I don't have the solutions all mapped out in my head or anything like that. That's the first thing. Second thing, the agenda that we're looking at. Very handy links in here, and if you want to follow along and click on the links and if anything in here is particularly interesting, you can find the agenda. It'll be in a different place depending on where you're watching this video. If you're watching this on YouTube or diode.zone, it's down in the video description. On Air Mozilla, it's in the details section. And if you're watching this on Twitch, it's down in the channel details. Although I just realized I don't think I updated Twitch today. So that's an example of me, of things not going exactly right. And so let me quickly update Twitch. Let me just pull up my creator dashboard here and change the settings to include at the channel there. I'm going to change the agenda to be for 360 and then save. And then I also want to change the rate this episode link. That's this one. So I'm doing it off screen because I don't want you to accidentally see stuff in my Twitch admin biz. All right. Yeah, that's it. So that's where you can find the agenda. All right. So what are we doing today? Well, I did a spin, so we can call that done. I don't know if people are watching this on the Joy of Coding website, but there's a little Easter egg on the web page. If you haven't checked it out yet, maybe I'll reveal it at the end. It's pretty easy to spot if you open up the source of the web page, but if you just kind of mouse around on the page, you might find it. I wanted to give out a quick bit of news. This maybe is not super surprising, but the based on the QA stuff that we had done over the past couple of weeks, the Windows jump list thing that we'd worked on in 2023, QA had banged the tires. They didn't find anything wrong with it. We did that again in beta. They tested the heck out of it. We didn't notice any difference in stability for users with it on by default. And so it went out yesterday to the release channel in Firefox 124. 124 is the most recent release of Firefox, and it went out, and that's got the jump list stuff that we had worked on for most of 2023. So if you were sticking it out through the entire series of working on the jump list thing, hey, it's out. It's out. We did it. You saw the whole journey from beginning, middle, beginning again, middle, and then end. And we're still going because we've got this favicon thing that we're gonna hack on today to kind of finish the job. Because if you don't recall, the favicon caching thing is still doing a little bit of main thread IO, and that's what we're trying to fix up. And we tried to do that last week, but the build wasn't ready, which was disappointing. We ended up working on porting Thunderbird to using the new Windows jump list backend, and that's still in review. So just waiting to hear on that. But I did end up, the build completed last week, and I haven't touched it since. So this is with our favicon stuff. Now, Windows did restart, so everything's shut down. So let's open it all up again. Windows jump lists. This is mail. Open recent. This is what I want. What? No. Project. Open recent project. There we go. I don't want mail. This is what I want. So we had actually done the work of writing out the obtain and cache favicon async thing and exposing it over XPCOM, and I tried to build it, and what we got to was a build failure. That's what all this is. Like, if you take a look right at the very bottom of this message, this is what a build failure looks like. Hold on, my terminal buffer is humongous. It was building, and then it like, uh-oh, something went wrong. Mosmake, 3 stars, error 2, something went wrong, building stuff, waiting for unfinished jobs. Now, the reason why it's not immediately obvious, like we don't just halt the build as soon as we hit the error, is because building Firefox happens in parallel. Like, we build a lot of different things at the same time, or as much as we can in parallel. And so whenever one of those jobs hits an error, you have to like wait for those other jobs to finish before you can kind of shut everything down properly. Or at least that's how it works. I don't know if you have to do it that way, but that's like how it works. And so there's like a lot of spew after the error gets hit from the other builds that were underway when we hit the error. So we actually have to find the error by like kind of going up through the log and seeing if we can hunt it down. So it seems like we'd gotten pretty far. We were at the point where we're like linking DLLs and stuff. And here's where we're starting to get into like, and it's color coded. WinUtils, error, ref counted variable a IO thread of type serial event target cannot be captured by a lambda. We cannot capture it by a lambda. Let's see. That's WinUtils 1113. Oh, sorry, WinUtils 1113. So apparently this is not gonna work. Let's see if we can find another example of passing a thread through a lambda. Thread reference. Not really. Maybe we don't need to pass it through. Like, what we do is we run this on the main thread. We invoke this on the IO thread. And then within that IO thread, we say, okay, get the main thread, but also here's a reference to self, because we need to pass the IO thread. An AIO thread comes from this ref pointer from the favicon helper. It starts as a ref pointer lazy idle thread. It's saying ref counted variable cannot be captured by a lambda. Cannot be captured by a lambda. What are you supposed to? Please consider using a smart pointer. What does that mean? Complain about capturing using this without it backing with a strong reference. Back in 2017. This is an instance of a ref count type, yet the lambda capture analysis doesn't complain about the capture of it, so we're capturing the raw pointer rather than a strong reference. That seems bad. What's the result of relaxing the rules or just an oversight in the analysis? This is an instance of a ref counted type. So it's complaining that the ref counted variable can't be captured. Consider using a smart pointer. I mean, what is AIO thread? Can I use like ref pointer instead? Like ref pointer. I wish I could like search for lambdas, but there are certain symbols that like help identify a lambda like that. So is there anything like this? Here we go. Aha. Ref pointer. Append element. Callback. This is a lambda. Self equals ref pointer this. So could I do like ref pointer? Or rather, this should be like an NSCOM pointer. NSCOM pointer. Standard move. Ref. Self. Standard move. Move the input stream. Input stream is a COM pointer. So maybe that's what I should be doing, is moving. Because AIO thread in this case, what is it? Invoke async. Wait, is it something that I have access to in here? I don't think I do. Oh, current, okay, right. Get current serial event target. So, NSCOM pointer, NSI serial event target, current thread equals get current serial event target. And then can I pass equals standard move? I move that. AIO thread. How do you feel about that? Building, linking, now just because a thing builds, I think I've said this like a bajillion times, just because a thing builds doesn't mean that it's going to work properly. Why is something that is ref counted not a smart pointer in this context? I think smart pointer, like ref counting is kind of like a smart pointer. Like ref counting is a feature of smart pointers. And I think what that Clang error is sort of suggesting is that find some way of using a smart pointer rather than a raw pointer to pass this thing around. And let's see. An NSCOM pointer is a type of smart pointer. A ref pointer is a type of smart pointer. So it's not prescribing what kind to use. But I don't know if this is answering your question, Neurotar, but a smart pointer, one of the features of smart pointers is that they do ref counting. Does that answer your question? I don't know. It looks like it's linking. So I'm pretty happy about that. Let's see if we can actually get to the point where we can test this, where we can call our method and see what happens. We could just crash. In fact, I'm going to put my money on crashing immediately. Neurotor writes, it just seems like I'm missing something about how the closure is capturing the raw pointer inside the ref counted thing. Well, over here, I'm saying, hey, I'm using a smart pointer. I want you to move that smart pointer over to this variable. So I think in this case, due to like lambda capture C++ kind of doing some type inference, this is now an NSCOM pointer. This is now this NSCOM pointer. It's been moved over to this thread and assigned this name. And so it's not a raw pointer. It's an NSCOM pointer, which is a type of smart pointer. I don't know if does that help? I think that's what's going on. Okay, well, while we wait for this to build, maybe there's some, we can sort of like figure out how we're going to test this. Right, but did you actually need a different type, or was the problem that with the implicit definition, it was capturing the raw pointer? Yes, I think that's true, because like the argument that was that get current serial event target gives you, I think might be the raw pointer. Yeah, it gives you back a raw pointer. Yes, that's what's going on. Okay, so building was successful. Let's run. I shouldn't expect anything right off the bat, anything interesting. Couldn't load XPCOM, it says. Huh. What? That is a problem if you can't load XPCOM. Let's just make sure let's build one more time. Make sure we didn't miss anything. Maybe halfway through a compile step, something aborted. Let's build one more time. SmurfD says, by the way, does not look like episode 359 was uploaded to YouTube. Is that true? Oh no. Let me just quickly double check while we wait for this to build. One moment. One moment, please. I thought I uploaded it. Channel 358. Videos 358. Yeah, 358, 359 never went up. My bad. I'll upload that today. Apologies. Deepest apologies. I will upload that. So don't forget, upload episode 359 too. Yeah, thanks for the close eye on that. Okay, now let's try running it. Good. We seem to be able to load XPCOM now. Okay, now the thing is we've exposed a new method on Jump List Builder. We need to find a way of calling it. I don't think we have any. Yeah, we don't have any nice console history that we can use. So we're gonna just invent some stuff here. Windows Jump List Sys.mjs. Yeah, we're gonna do this. We're gonna copy that. That's to. I'm just because we might end up doing this a couple times. I'm gonna paste that in. And that's going to give us our reference to the thing, and then we need to get at the main Windows builder. So the current window that we're in, we'll do that, and then win taskbar jump list builder. Okay, this is the thing. So now we can do obtain and cache favicon async. We can call that, and what are the arguments? It takes just the URL. So I'm gonna pass a URL. Well, first of all, where is the cache? We have to figure out where the cache is, and we're gonna see if it gets written to. So where is the cache? The cache, shortcut cache dir. Remind me again where the two options are. Jump list cacher. We want the jump list cacher. And so this, the decision of where things ultimately go, I think happens here. And there's this callback when the icon data is ready. Okay, yeah, jump list cache. Where is that? Where is that? We get the cacher append native that name, and m jump list cacher equals what? Okay, so there is a within the profile prof LDS folder. Where is that? So I'm just going to do that for a second. We're going to get services dir service get prof what? No, prof LDS prof LDS, and we're going to get that as a CI/NSI file. Okay, and what is the path? So that's just my main profile. Okay, so let's go ahead and open that folder for this test instance, and inside here, yeah, there's a jump list cache. So this is the folder that we should expect to see stuff populate into. So let's pick a URL. Let's pick Ars Technica, this URL. So I don't see Ars Technica's favicon in there yet. And there's a bunch of ads in there. Don't worry about it. We're just going to keep an eye on this folder. So I'm going to put that on the right. We're going to put this on the left. We're going to put this in the foreground. And we're going to say, okay, obtain and cache favicon. We need to construct the URL that we want. So we're going to say let Ars URL equals services.io new URI, and pass it the string. That looks right. And then we are going to call that. We're going to pass. So this might crash, just an FYI. Oh, wait, I didn't even run it. See, that's no good. That ran on its own. So I'm going to delete this file. I go ahead and delete this. And now I'm going to run this. Hey, and it showed up. That's pretty cool. So that appeared to work. Let me delete that again, make sure that wasn't a fluke. Shows up again. Let's pick a different URL. Let's pick one for a site that I've never been at. Let Mike URL equals services.io new URI https://mikeconley.ca/blog. And let's pass the Mike URL to it. And there's a crash. Didn't handle something properly. So whenever something goes wrong, we crash. Well, that's interesting. Okay, so we've got it kind of working. That's kind of cool. That's cool. We just need to figure out some error conditions here. Like in the event that, where was it? Obtain and cache obtain cached and favicon async. Oh, it's over here in jump list builder. Obtain and cache favicon async. So whenever something, when we fail to get it, what code path do we fall under? Whoops. Get the icon path, we'll just return it. Oh, that's the other thing. I was expecting the favicon, I was expecting us to get a URL back, or like a path back. And notice we weren't getting a path back. Let's do that again, actually. Let's do that all again. I was expecting to get a path back, even for the Ars Technica URL. See, that's coming back as null. I really like the fact that it populates right away, though. Like, boom. Yeah, that's cool. Now, what we need to get back is the path. We desperately need that. So why aren't we getting a path back? Let's start taking down a to-do list of things to figure out. Do I have here? Place. Did we do this? We did this. Place with serial event target so idle threads can pass the cells. Done. Add new methods in native code. Yeah, done. Oh, I just need to expose the... I need to break up the patch. So I'm going to do that later. For now, I'm going to figure out why aren't we getting the paths back via the promise returned from obtain cached favicon async. Is that what it's called? Obtain and cache favicon async. And the second question is, why are we crashing when we attempt to get a favicon for a site we've never visited? Okay, let's see if we can answer these today. Why aren't we getting the string back? So what we could do is we could start by firing up VS Code. Not VS Code, Visual Studio. Not VS Code. Wrong one. I wanted 2017. Go away. I need Visual Studio 2017 because I need the debugger. And we're going to attach to this process, the parent process, services, app info, process ID. We're going to attach to 8268. We're going to go ahead and attach. Then we're going to set a breakpoint. We're going to set a breakpoint right over here in what's the namespace of this stuff? I think I can just, is it Mozilla widget? I think it's widget. Mozilla widget jump list builder, and then obtain and cache favicon async. I think that's the namespace. Yes, I get the red dot, so that's the right thing to do. That's the right URL, or symbol rather. Okay, so we hit our breakpoint, and we're going to start stepping through. Now we might jump around a little bit because this is an optimized build, so this is not a one-to-one mapping between the instructions being executed and the source that we're looking at. So if you see me hopping around, it's because, you know, the debugger is interpreting which instruction we're on and figuring out what line of code that maps to, and based on optimizations that the compiler may have applied for the optimized build, you know, it might not be linear. So just, if you're seeing me hopping around a little bit, that's what's going on. So we create a promise holder, we call this thing, and then we're going to do one of these two things. We either resolve or we reject. No, this breakpoint will not currently be hit. No executable code of the debugger's target code type is associated with this line. So it never gets called. What? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Maybe it's because it hasn't been loaded in yet. Run execution to here. I want a breakpoint here. Breakpoint. Insert breakpoint. I want insert breakpoint. Well, and then let's go in here. We're going to step inside. Obtain cached favicon. We're going to do this stuff. We're going to, now the path, we're going to figure out what the path is because we've already got the icon on disk. So we should actually, we're going to figure that out. We're going to be like, hey, the icon is where we expect it to be on disk. And which thread are we on? We're on the main thread right now. So we're figuring out what? We're figuring out what the name of the icon would be. And the JIXJD9, which I think is correct. If we take a look, JIXJD9, yep, that looks right. So we return that up. So we've got the name of what the path should be. And so then we have to figure out whether or not it's expired. And so we're going to go over here to this other thread. Huh. That's interesting. So we never run this lambda? That doesn't make any sense. We might need to try that again. The other thing we might need to do is, where are we right now? Where? We might need a debug build, gang, which isn't fun because those are slow AF. But our optimizations, I think, are confusing things. I can't seem to, even though I'm getting the promise resolved as null for some reason, I can't set a breakpoint inside the lambda. Well, before we wait for, how long would it take to do a debug build? Let's see how bad it is. Let's see how bad. Detach. Build with debug. Let's see how far along it is. Because like we were just doing debug builds before, and so the SC cache should probably be fairly saturated. So this might not take too long. Hello? Well, while it sorts itself out, maybe we can, oh, here we go. Maybe by inspection we can try and figure out what might be going wrong. So obtain and cache favicon async returns a promise that is passed through here. Oh! We never hand the promise back to the caller. That's why we're getting null. That's why we're getting null. A promise here is never being assigned. That's a problem. So I can start with that. The first, it looks like obtain and cache favicon async isn't actually returning a promise. That's why we're returning null. Okay, well, we can fix that. I can probably abort this build for now while we fix that. So this is, we create a main thread promise holder. We need to do this sort of thing. We say like, we did it in other places where we create promises. Promise.forget a promise. Yes. So this is a way of like handing the ownership of the promise to the caller. So build with default build. All right. And you know, these two things may be related. I mean, the fact that we don't return the promise means that the promise isn't necessarily kept alive. It may have been garbage collected. Well, I don't know if that's related. I don't know if that's going to be related. But like, certainly, this explains the first problem. That's not to say that we might get back a path. We might not, but at least we should get a promise back now from the caller. Whether or not that promise ever resolves, we shall see. Okay, done linking. Let's build, or let's run and see if we can get a better result. Okay. Open up the testing folder over here. Let's import that stuff. We're gonna get our rs path, our URL. Hey, there we go. We get a path back. That's great news. That's exactly what we want out of this thing. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. So now the question is, what happens? Why does it crash whenever we pass it a URL maybe it's never seen before? Is it still going to crash here? I'm going to guess it will. Yes. Yeah, we crash. Okay. So in this case, we actually might want that debug build. I'm going to amend first so that we've got everything nice and committed. We're going to do our debug build. And, or actually, we don't necessarily need our debug build. Let's see what happens if we have our debugger attached on the opt build when we crash. That's something we can do. So let's open up Visual Studio again. Didn't mean to give up on you. Oh, you were still around. You were still around. Okay. Visual Studio. I enjoy Visual Studio 2017. Okay, so let's get ourselves in position to do the crash. Let's get our process ID. It's 22440. We'll attach. Okay, and now let us attempt to crash. Yes. So we hit our breakpoint. Okay, I didn't mean to hit the breakpoint. I want to crash. So go ahead and crash. Here we go. Crash unsafe printf. If diagnostic assert. Call stack. We intentionally crashed because we assert is dead and we're not actually dead. We want to assert that then value is dead because we are rejecting here. We release the promise. So on rejection, that's where we're at. We are rejecting the promise. Presumably we're actually here. The unique pointer goes away. Move the holder. Create unique pointer. When a unique pointer is destroyed, a unique pointer is being destroyed on the promise holder. We assert that there's no promise left. That's why we're crashing, because we destroyed the promise holder but the promise still exists. Make unique. I make a unique, and then I move it after ensuring that the promise. That should be okay. I mean, I guess I could. What do other people do here? They're all using unique pointer. Does anyone use ref pointer? Make ref pointer, but that's only if you can make Moz promise holder ref countable, and that's not a thing that you get by default. Here, the media team have like a thing that you can wrap the Moz promise holder in to make it ref countable. But in this case, we've got a unique pointer, and somehow we're releasing, oh, in favicon data callback, main thread pointer holder, release, release, so see, it's the icon. This callback goes away. Mouse promise holder. Where are we? Mouse promise holder, mouse promise holder base. Of either a string or an NS result. We're deleting the pointer, which deletes the holder, so that we're getting rid of the holder. But then we're like, hey, hold up. Hold up. I'm not dead yet. Assert of all the change promises, assert the change promise is dead. And if it's not dead, so one of the thens on the Moz promise is not dead. Assert is dead. Assert is dead. Promise we assert that's some magic stuff, and then we take a lock, and then we assert our then values are dead. does it mean to say that a thing is dead? Assert is dead for a then value. There are no consumers waiting for the result. It's been disconnected. How do you disconnect? Once promise is resolved. So there's still some thens sticking around. They haven't been run yet. That's the problem. There are some thens that haven't been run yet. So what are the thens? That might not have been invoked yet. So like, I guess let's follow it along. We say, okay, go ahead and cache icon file from favicon. In our runnable. And the way that thing works is the runnable here is what holds on to the holder. I guess the runnable is not guaranteed to run. That's what it is. The runnable is not guaranteed to fire. That's what I think is happening here. There's some chatter. Best idea I've ever used is Visual Studio. I'm guessing 2017. I love it. Yeah. Are you maybe moving the holder to the async function, but then returning a promise that belongs to that holder? I'm moving the holder to the async function, yes, to the lambda off of the thread, and then returning a promise that belongs to that holder. Yes, that is how that works. That's how it's supposed to work. I think what's going on is that the runnable in the failure case doesn't fire. Let's see here. And I think I've seen this before. This sounds really familiar. Runnable dot... Like, where is, here it is. This, in the event that things go well, we pass in the runnable to async encode and write icon, and then that runnable is assigned to mrunnable, and only after all of this stuff occurs, in the event that it exists, then the runnable is run. But if we fail at any point throughout all of this, the runnable won't be run. It'll be thrown out, and that's bad. Okay, so I think I understand what's happening here. Executed when the favicon cache is available, but it might never become available. What is the interface for runnable? It's just run, right? Yeah. You almost want it to be like a cancelable runnable, so you can say like, hey, cancelable runnable. Cancels a pending task so that calling run on the task is a no-op. Calling cancel after the task execution has begun will be a no-op. Calling this method twice is considered an error. So that a cancelable runnable. Let's go to the definition. Cancelable runnable. So that's not something that's exposed as an interface over XPCon. Oh, it is. It is. It is. Like if I open up CI/SI cancelable run. No, it's not something that script has access to. Request. A runnable is just a callback, and you don't get a value passed to it. What I basically need is like a way of saying, "Hey, this thing failed." This job failed. It's like a chain of callbacks. It takes a runnable. Because like the callback may never fire as well, right? Like let's trace this from the very beginning. Get favicon data for page callback. This callback is always invoked to notify the result of the lookup. Okay, that's interesting. The URI parameter will be the favicon or null when no favicon is associated. So the callback here will always be fired. Async favicon data ready. It's just passed on complete. So there'll be a on complete in here. Here we go. Yeah, if there's no data, then favicon not available. In that case, we'll stream like the default icon. Okay, and then we won't run the runnable. Huh. And how is the runnable working before? Is it as simple as just always running the runnable in it, if no matter what happens? Obtain cached favicon async. The way it works is inside the runnable. We move. Oh boy, yeah. See, the runnable doesn't give us any information on whether or not the file exists. So we missed something here. This is such a mess. But basically, we send off a function that's like, hey, try and go get the favicon. Here's a callback to call. We don't know what state it is in. Like, we don't know whether or not you were successfully able to get a favicon. But then, if you are ultimately successful, call this thing. The only problem is that we had assumed when we wrote this that the call runnable is always called, but it's not. It's not. It might not be called. In the event that things have gone sideways, the runnable will not be called. And the runnable, if we made it so that the runnable is always called in either case, the runnable does not accept an argument, so that we wouldn't actually know whether or not we succeeded or failed in here. Smarty asks, could it be that the runnable function starts but does not finish? I don't think it ever runs. I think in the event, like, the runnable will only ever run if we successfully retrieved a favicon, wrote it to disk, like decoded it, re-encoded it as an ICO, and wrote it to disk. And that's not going to happen whenever the icon isn't in the favicon database. In the case of the MikeConley.ca blog example, that makes sense. What we have here is a very interesting architectural problem between the old and the new. So first of all, I think we can mark that off here. I'm going to write down what I've learned. The problem is that obtain cache such and such takes an NSI runnable as an argument, and that runnable will only ever be called if we successfully retrieve and cache the favicon to disk. In any error condition, this runnable is not called, and unfortunately that will leave us with dangling Moz promise thens, things that never get resolved. So what are we going to do? Okay, let's brainstorm ideas. Things to consider. Let's add a new section. How to resolve the NSI runnable and Moz promise kerfuffle in that. Okay, so here are some ideas. 1, have cache icon file from favicon URI async take a more robust set of callbacks rather than just a dumb runnable. Have one of those callbacks called in the event of success or error. Wire those up to promise rejection or resolution. That's maybe a bit more intense than I'd want. What are some other solutions? Title, smart pointers, dumb runnables. Good job, Jimbo. I like that. When a runnable is canceled, I mean, I could do it that way. Make the runnable passed to cache icon file from favicon URI async a NSI cancelable runnable, and on error be canceled. On cancel reject the promise. We're using, what are we using here? We're using like ns new runnable function. Do we have anything that's like new cancel new cancelable runnable function? Hey. All right. Let's look at an example of this. New cancelable runnable function. You pass in a promise. Promise. That's interesting. Web codecs. Task. Cancelable runnable function. But what does it mean to be canceled? Whenever it's canceled. Is that something that you can listen for? Let's go back to the definition of this thing. On cancel, we reset we call dot reset on a maybe. What does it mean to reset? We just like destroy it and poison it. So we don't actually call anything. Ugh. What other kinds of runnables are there? Idle runnable, non-owning idle runnable, new cancel, non-owning runnable, new runnable. I mean, I guess instead of using the helper here, I could implement cancelable runnable. Discardable runnable. The way we dispatch to workers, the owners of the event will be runner on discard. I could implement NSI cancelable runnable. And then on cancel, instead of like have it be passed a holder. And if the runnable is canceled, reject. Things that call this cache runnable. You know what? Create a runnable. Part of the problem is that I'm trying to reuse a bunch of stuff and keep the old one around. This is exactly the same problem I was dealing with when like working on the jumpless stuff originally, because I was trying to like merge the two solutions so that like both could coexist with one another within like the same chunk of code, just have like two different modes, and that ended up being a real pain in the butt. And what I ended up doing was forking effectively, and then switching to one or switching to the other. And part of me wonders whether or not that'd be simpler here. Since you want the promise to reject, you'll have to call something though, right? Exactly. Yes. Yes, I'm gonna have to call something. In any of the error conditions, we'll have to call something to say like, hey, this chain of stuff, something in it failed, therefore I've got an idea. I've got an idea. Add a new argument to which is a Moz promise holder. Pass this along to each of the callbacks and various Rube Goldberg machinery. Add a new optional argument. This is an optional argument. Instead of passing in the runnable, pass in the Moz promise holder. Have the Moz promise holder resolve on success after the NSI runnable would have been run. Have the Moz promise holder reject on destruction of whatever is holding it if it hasn't yet been resolved. Narrator writes, NSI discardable runnable sounds promising, doesn't it? When the holder gets dropped, maybe the on discard callback is called and you can reject. I think this kind of gives us the same thing. And what I like about it is that it becomes what I'm suggesting is we add yet another argument to cache icon file from favicon URI async so that the other consumers of the function don't have to change their behavior. They'll ignore the empty Moz promise holder. But for our purposes, we won't pass a runnable. We will pass a Moz promise holder. And we can wire in our logic to reject on destruction if we haven't resolved yet, and to resolve when we normally would have run the runnable. That's my plan. Okay, we've got about 20 minutes left in the stream. Let's see how much of that we can do. So I want to add a new argument here. Holder. Is there an example of passing a Moz promise holder as an argument? Yeah. Okay. Moz promise holder of type holder. And that might be no. Leftmost Cat writes, Waffle169 Lurk, I know you use a bridge so this doesn't show up as an adorable video game crow, but I highly recommend imagining that it does. All right, will do. Will do. Okay, so let's go ahead and... Man, this all needs like a desperate cleanup. All of this is pretty gross, but you know, we'll do that later. Get it working, then get it nice. Let's see what happens if I just alter the function to take the arguments. Go ahead and detach, shut her down. Yeah, this is an interesting exercise in trying to like do additive development, you know, so that we don't necessarily have to change the behavior of the old stuff until it's all ready to switch over. Yeah. So optional args is one way of doing that sort of thing. And so I'd be adding an optional arg to async favicon data ready. Now, should this be a unique pointer that gets passed? Unique pointer pause promise holder. Yeah, maybe that's what it should be. A unique pointer. So I'm gonna actually want to cancel this build. I want it to be a unique pointer. Reference. Because we're just going to be passing this. We don't want copies of it lying around. What? Let's save. Request operation can perform with a user mapped section open. A user mapped section open? What are you talking about? Close the file then. Whatever, Sublime. Get over it. Okay, yeah, we just want one copy to be passed along the chain because we've got this big old Rube Goldberg chain of stuff. So let's see whether or not that builds. Yeah, you're getting those wonderful Windows alert sounds. Ba-ba-boo! Ba-ba-boo! Speaking of horrendous errors, I'll review your TV patch as soon as I can drag out my Windows install. No rush, no rush. I mean, when's the next major cut of Thunderbird coming? I'm gonna guess it's on the next ESR, right? That's the next major version bump. Is that correct? If that's the case, then like what I'm suggesting we do, okay, that's a yep. Like it'll be for the next major version bump because like the old jumpless stuff should still be working in 1.15. So we just need to make sure that it's ready for 1.28. So no major rush. And then after, at some point, once it gets in prior to 1.28, then we're going to get rid of the old jump list backend. And I'll be very happy about that. Get rid of all that legacy stuff. Oh, okay, so here's the idea. There will be much rejoicing, says Leftmost Cat. Hey, me too. We're going to pass the promise holder to async favicon ready. That might be a standard move. We might do standard move here. It's very upset. Too few function arguments. WinUtils 1032. Right, 1032. I think I need to be able to say that, hey, this might be null. I mean, I'm okay doing that. Null pointer. And then over here, let's just pass in null pointer as well, just to get it to compile. Let's actually also get rid of this for now. I just want it to compile for now. So hold up. Are there any other FX dev streams? Asks Neurotor. I don't know. I mean, there have been some in the past. If you look at the agenda, there are some from back in the day, but I think I'm the only one who's really stuck with it. So, for example, one of our JavaScript engine developers, Yulia, was streaming for a while on this show called Compiler. Emilio, one of our layout and platform hackers, had some live hacking videos. I mean, Alessandro from the Thunderbird team has some videos every now and then. Another JavaScript hacker from the SpiderMonkey team was streaming for a while. I think those are the only ones I know of. I've heard of other people wanting to do it, though. So there might be out there, and I just don't know about them. It's possible. All right. So it's building, it's linking. That's great. So then if it's happy with that, then the next step is to move the holder over to async favicon data ready. So we have to change our definition of async favicon data ready. And is that defined in here? It is. So it's going to take as well a unique pointer. And we're going to have that be assigned here, unique pointer. Moz promise holder. Promise holder. All right, let's get that to build now. I think we can do that by mrunnable murl shortcut. Okay, so before murl shortcut, we're gonna go mpromise holder, a promise holder. Is that how it works? Hodler holder. Or is it like you standard move there. That's what you do. BW runnable. It's a standard move, so you do a standard move there as well. Everybody's moving around. And then in the destructor of this thing, is there a destructor for async favicon data ready? Did it not define one? All right, here it is. If mpromise holder, how's it work? Reject if exists. And we're going to pass an S error failure. Okay. Build. Now, when this thing succeeds, it actually calls in to another thinger. Which is on complete this stuff, the encoding stuff. It's the async, so it passes the runnable around over here. So we're going to go standard move m promise holder. We're going to pass that along to async encode and write icon. So this takes a unique pointer. What a mess. And we're gonna say, is this thing also defined inside this header? Yes, it is. I'm gonna say it's a unique pointer. Same dealio. It's just passing it along the chain. Assign that here, and that happens just after the runnable might be assigned. We'll say m promise holder standard move a promise holder. Okay, is there a destructor? Here it is. It's virtual. Here's the destructor. We'll say if m promise holder reject if exists s error failure func. But in here we'll say if m promise holder promise holder resolve if exists, and we're going to pass in the I guess the path, m icon path. Does that work? What was I doing before? Resolve if exists. Icon path and then func. Will it build? This one didn't even build. Use of undeclared identifier on line 587. It's like, I've never even heard of you before. Yeah, I need to expose that. I need to use the fully qualified namespace. Cached icon file async promise. This thing, favicon helper. So build. Denny hold on, there's a lot of chat here. There will be more rejoicing. Okay, I didn't know that Yulia streamed. So much I want to know about Spider Monkey. What's the Mozilla Marketing doesn't review all streams and has a collection? What, the Mozilla Marketing doesn't review all streams and has a collection? No, this is very like piratey. Like this, you think this is like an official Mozilla initiative? No, I'm just doing this. Like, I mean, maybe we'll get organized at some point, but this is just me doing this. Left because she did a series where she fixed a bug from A to Z while live streaming. Highly recommended. There will be some non-Mozillians streaming FX Dev. A Thunderbird developer also streams. That's Alessandro. Yeah, Mike, is your handy list of links published somewhere? Yeah, this list of links here, this is in the agenda. So you're probably watching this based on your chatter. You're probably watching this on Twitch. Scroll down. It's in the channel details, the agenda, and you can click on the links. Oh, yeah, and then people are telling you about that. Problem is having free time for it. They should pay a few hours in different teams if someone's willing to stream. Where are those videos about Spider Monkey? And then Smurfd links to, I'm going to guess this is a mirror of, yeah, this is, I guess it went to the Mozilla Hacks blog. That's cool. Maybe I should mirror my stuff to Mozilla Hacks. I don't know. I don't know, Chief. Use of undeclared identifier. Favicon helper. Did I get it? Did I? Helper. Is there? I mean, it's in this file. What are you talking about? Namespace, Mozilla, WinUtils. Is it like this? Is this what you want? Favicon helper. Seems pretty silly. But okay. It's 228. I don't know. There'll be a 5-part series, I guess. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Smurfd, but yeah, this is interesting. Yulia was doing this stuff 3 years ago. A guided tour. Yulia shows what it's like to work on the Spider Monkey compiler as a JavaScript engineer, improving conformance. Like, I don't know if you know this, Yulia is part of the TC39, I believe, which is really interesting. The TC39 is the group of people that basically specifies JavaScript, the language. And yeah, I'm pretty sure Yulia is part of this group. Let's take a look at some meeting agendas. 2024. Sir, who is here? Nope. Well, at any rate, I'm pretty sure Yulia is part of the TC39, which is pretty neat because that helps us design the language. No member named Favicon helper? What are you talking about? What namespace is it in then? Class Favicon helper, class async. What namespace are we inside? Some anonymous namespace? Oh. Class WinUtils. Like what? Whenever people use WinUtils. Widget. It's widget, not Mozilla. Widget. Okay. We're going to do a search and replace. Find, replace. Mozilla Favicon with widget Favicon. Replace all. Now will you build? Or is it going to be Mozilla widget Favicon? Still, oh God. No member named Favicon helper in Mozilla widget. Are you sure? Did I get this wrong? Favicon helper. There it is. Are you in a different namespace? Delete all favicons from disk. What namespace are you in? Mozilla widget. Mozilla widget. Except that it's saying that Mozilla widget isn't in Favicon helper. Or favicon helper isn't in Mozilla Widget. What is happening? What is happening? Mozilla Widget, favicon helper. Obtain cache promise. And it's complaining because, let's go to the very first one. No member on line 587. Line 587. It doesn't know what this is. Wait a second. Is favicon helper defined later? I'll bet it is. 587. That's where this line is. Class 5. Yeah. Okay, that's why. It's in order. It's in order. So as the C compiler, C++ compiler is like figuring its business out and going along, going like, oh, let's build this thing. By the time it reaches this line, it has no idea what widget favicon obtain cached icon file async promise is. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get this out of the favicon, the namespace. Like this is, or I'm gonna get this out of the class. I was trying to be clever by like having this be a thing that is part of this class, but I think that's becoming more problem than it's worth. So I'm gonna take this out and put this typedef like at the top of this file. Namespace widget, that's a good idea. Where's a good place? I'll put it just before the first usage of the right here. If def places. No, I'm gonna always have that. I'm gonna put it outside. So we're gonna get rid of that. We can probably, I'm gonna guess it'll be okay if we get rid of that too. So we can shorten these a little bit. Okay, and then over here, yeah, it'll just use okay, let's see what happens now if I build this. No matter what happens, if this fails to build, we'll deal with this next week. So we got, I think we have our two questions. I wanted to get these two questions answered, which is how come this? And we figured out that answer fairly quickly. I think we ultimately found out our answer to this based on looking at that stack and some suppositions. We have a solution that I think is going to work. Are we going to get to the point where we can test that solution during the stream? If this builds, let's test it, and then no matter what happens, I'm ending the stream. It's building. It's building, gang. We're at widget windows. Oh, I got past widget. That's good. That's good. Hey, this is pretty exciting stuff. Thanks for watching. No matter what happens, I think this will be pretty interesting. If you've got other favorite live streamers and live hackers, Mozilla or otherwise, go ahead and throw some links into the chat. There might be some really... one who I really admire is Andreas Killing. I think that's how you pronounce the last name. Killig? He's the Serenity OS. Andreas Kling, that's the name. The Serenity OS lead developer. I find him very impressive. And he's also working on a new browser engine with a bunch of people called... I think it's just called LibWeb, but the browser that they're wrapping it in is called Ladybird. And it's always a good thing when someone's working on building a new web engine, even if it's a toy web engine. But Serenity OS and the LibWeb, I suspect that it's going to be more than just a toy. Like I think there's actually like it's going to take a lot of time and effort, but I think they're going to have like a usable, workable web engine at some point. It's going to take a while for it to like reach parity, and they've got the advantage of starting kind of from scratch. What happened here? Line 1073. I'm willing. I'm willing to do this other build. Anyways, if you're not familiar at all with the Serenity OS project, it's pretty neat. Audacious project. And if you're a fan of like retro computing, like this may turn some of you off this look, but this is what I grew up with computer wise. This is like Win95 vibes, Win98 vibes, and I remember computing looking like this. And as part of this, the team working on this is also working on a web engine. They've been doing it for a while. Where's LibWeb? Ladybird browser. Ladybird browser project. Build an independent web browser from scratch. It's being developed as part of Serenity OS. You can build it yourself. Here's the original announcement. These are some updates. They're video updates. That's interesting. Here's one from February. I'm just gonna mute it. I'm not gonna listen, but maybe we can like what the Nile Red. Let's just look at some examples of stuff rendering. This is VS Code running not in Serenity. This is Discord running inside of Ladybird. Oh, was that VS Code running inside of Ladybird? That's very cool. If this is VS Code running inside of Ladybird, that's pretty neat. Yeah. Impressive stuff. That's very impressive that they got that working. VS Code, that's not a small application. Good for them. Good for them. They got Hacker News loading inside of it. Good for them. It's no small feat to write a web engine. Okay, it built. And writing web engines should be encouraged. This is a thing that we should have more of. People making web engines. Okay, let's try one last time with feeling. Will it crash? It might. It might. Like URL. In the best case scenario, this should reject. And it crashed. Okay, well, we'll figure that out next week. I'll have a debug build ready. In fact, I'll do a debug build right now, but I'm going to HG amend. I'm going to get a debug and an opt build ready for next week, and we can try and figure out what the heck's going on here. All right, well, thank you so much for watching, everybody. Watching episode 360. Spin Move. Let me know what you thought. There is a link in the agenda to let me know what you thought of the episode right here under Rate This Episode. I'm also going to put a link to that in the chat. Rate This Episode link. There it is. You can fill out that form. Let me know what you thought. That's also a great place to ask questions. If you've got questions about anything I did today or anything else that you'd like me to answer during the next stream, you can ask it there. I read everything that comes in, and there's like a little prize at the end. That prize being a unique photo of me making a silly face at the end of every form. So there's your prize. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, for watching. Have yourselves a great week. I believe... Oh, wait. I think, if I remember correctly, I can't stream next week. I think I have an unskippable meeting. There will be no stream next week. So extra cliffhanger here while we wait another week to figure out what's going on with the old favicon thing. But we're gonna figure it out. We'll figure it out the week after next. Thanks, everybody. Have yourselves a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
That's right. 2 weeks until the next Joy of Coding. The next episode should be on the 3rd of April. Bye.